Thank you, Brian, and what an honor it is to be invited to participate in the IHI Hospitality and Tourism Professionals Day 2021. Kudos to you guys for putting on this day, for celebrating the magnificence, the contribution of hospitality and tourism professionals across the spectrum. I'm so proud to be here, not only to be here as a participant in the hospitality industry and to talk to you all from that perspective, but I'm so proud to be here as an Irishman. I'm very, very proud of my roots, and Ireland has given me so much. And on my career journey, the journey that has led me to the ideology that I'm going to talk to you folks about today, I've had the privilege of proximity to some of the most extraordinary figures in Irish hospitality. My first job was given to me by Dermot Dwyer. The legend Dermot Dwyer, former president of the Irish Hotels Federation, and more recently a man whose contribution to the city of Dublin, to the country of Ireland, through his chairmanship of the National Convention Centre cannot be understated. But back in the day, Dermot had a guest house in Limerick where I was growing up, and my first job, taking out the bins, taking out the trash twice a week. 14 years old, on my bike, over to the guest house, wheel the bins out onto the road, go back the following day and take the empty bins back in. So my career has quite literally been from the trash room to the boardroom and pretty much everything else in between. And that resulted in my ideology of pride. My experiences from back then, my experiences with another extraordinary Irish hotelier, Gerald Lawless, for whom I had the privilege of working when he was executive chairman of Jumeirah in Dubai. And I spent 8 years learning from one of the greatest the industry has ever seen. And then coming home in 2007 to work in a business created by arguably not only one of the greatest hoteliers that has or will ever live in Ireland, but one of the greatest hoteliers that has ever operated anywhere, the late, great P.V. Doyle. And it was such a privilege, it was such a high point that will likely never be eclipsed in my career to work with Chairman Bernie Gallagher and other members of the family as we evolved the Juries Doyle Hotel Group into what is today proudly the Doyle Collection. So what have I learned? What did I want to be when I was that kid taking out the trash? You know, I always wanted to be the boss. And I was wrong, because I thought being the boss was to be called the boss. What I always wanted to be was 3 words: a chief executive officer. You know what I know now? Every time I stand in a room of industry colleagues, every time I have a conversation with folks like you, like this, I'm the guy with the stupidest job title of anybody here today. Why? Because mine is about ego and about status. It is not about purpose, as it should be. Who are you? I'm the chief of the executives. Oh, big deal. It's all about ego and not about purpose. So I've rebranded myself, and I do not want you to think of me as Bill Walsh, the chief executive officer of the Viceroy Hotel Group. That's what I am, but that's not what I do. What is my purpose? My purpose is to make people proud. So I am Bill Walsh, the chief pride officer of the Viceroy Hotel Group, because my job is like your job. What do we do? Every one of us that work in travel, tourism, and hospitality, we're human beings who make other human beings happy. It really is that simple. One human being making another human being happy. And the ideology that I'm going to talk you through just now is based on that premise. It's how can we as individual participants in travel, tourism, and hospitality play a role that makes us proud, that makes others proud, and that creates proud brands that will attract and retain the best of the best. Since taking out the bins at the age of 14 to where I am today at the age of 54, in those 40 years, I have developed my ideology for hospitality, where I feel pride comes from. and the actions we need to undertake and the commitments that we need to make sure that we're acting in a proud manner and making others proud around us. And I'd like to take you through that ideology today. It is an ideology that is fueled by pride. In fact, I call it a prideology. And it is a roadmap for any hospitality business to focus on to make sure that we are doing what's important, that we are stating and concentrating on purpose and not just process, and that we're making people happy and proud. And the first component of this prideology is around hospitality. And it's this: be a host first and always. Now, what do I mean by that? Hosts are people who don't just engage in service transactions. They're people who demonstrate that they care about how somebody else feels and how our interaction with them in a hospitality surrounding affects them and makes them feel. One of my heroes is a guy called Danny Meyer. Danny created a restaurant business in New York called the Union Square Hospitality Group, and then went on to create Shake Shack, the burger chain that revolutionized the high street burger industry. And about 15 years ago, Danny wrote a book called Setting the Table, and it quite frankly changed my hospitality life. I read this book and it articulated for me many of the things that I knew and that I knew I felt, but wasn't putting into words. And there was one quote in particular that Danny said, and it's about the difference between service and hospitality. And all of us in hospitality focus on, we must give great service. Let's be service leaders. It's all about the service. Folks, it's not. It is about hospitality, not service. Service is present when something happens to you. It becomes hospitality when that action happens for you. It's as simple as that. Doing things to people versus doing things for people. And that's the difference between true hospitality and an emotionless transactional experience. So in order to be proud, to have proud people working in our businesses, encourage their inner hospitality, their inner host to come out, to demonstrate that we care, to share feelings, and to let our customers know that we are here for them and not just to do service interactions to them. And then we got to be thoughtful in the detail. We have to make sure that we are putting effort into delivering an extraordinary experience to every one of our customers in a way that is meaningful, that is timely, and that is relevant. The worst thing that we can do is to keep doing things because that's the way we've always done them. That's where things get stale. And that's where we underwhelm as opposed to overwhelm and inspire our customers. To be proud in hospitality, we have to make sure that we have been thoughtful in the detail of the experience, of the product, of the interaction that we're having with our guests, and let them know that we will continue to challenge ourselves to evolve, to update, to tweak what we do, and that complacency will never live in our businesses. And why do we need to do this? We need to do this because people expect the remarkable. And it's our job to make those people expect and receive the remarkable. People live great lives. In the hotel business, one of the advantages that we always had was that when people came to stay in a hotel, usually it was nicer than their home. Today, people's lives have caught up. So whatever aspect of travel, tourism, and hospitality you're involved in, don't just rely on the attributes of the physical product, of the surroundings, and say, Asha, look, it's beautiful. That's all we need to do. People expect remarkable, and today, remarkable is about demonstrating that we care. It is being a human being, making another human being happy, and making somebody proud. We got to say yes. We have to say yes to our guests where others dare not. Now, you might look at me and say, well, Bill, that's great. Everybody says always say yes to the guest, and that's all there is to delivering an outstanding hospitality experience. But you're smart people, and you know that that is not always possible. Simply saying yes is going to get us into situations that we're going to find it difficult to get out of. I think it's disingenuous to have a commitment that is one that cannot be delivered, because we can't always say yes. Sometimes our customers will have requests of us or expectations which physically cannot be delivered. So how about we make a deal, all of us today? Instead of always saying yes, let's say this: we will never say no as a first response to a request from a guest or from one of our colleagues. Right there, we're making a commitment to go the extra mile. And that is where pride comes from. Knowing that you are going to challenge yourself to do the right thing, but at the same time, maintaining the integrity and the transparency of honesty. And that's where authenticity comes from. And all of our customers and all of our colleagues are seeking the authenticity that comes from integrity, transparency, and honesty. Travel, tourism, hospitality professionals, you guys out there, you want to work for brands that are not afraid to express their authenticity and who are going to appreciate and value your authenticity as an individual. So figure out ways to be authentic and be proud. And one of the ways that we do that is by recognizing individuality, the individuality that lives within us and the individuality of every guest, every customer that comes to our business. We are all individuals. Every experience is an individual experience. And particularly in luxury, it's all about individuality. That is what customers will pay a premium for, and that's what we as hospitality hosts, professionals, look to live, to experience, and to deliver to others. It's not about being cookie cutter. Cookie cutters are in kitchens to cut cookies because they're supposed to look like each other, taste like each other, feel like each other. Human beings are individuals. And remember, this is a business of human beings making other human beings happy and proud. So let's make sure that we express, that we celebrate the glorious individuality that exists amongst the people that you work with and the people that we look after as guests and customer. And we do need to cherish those differences because our differences are what make us stronger. How do we feel proud as hospitality professionals? We feel proud if we're working in an organization that not only recognizes our individuality, but that does celebrate our difference, that works hard to remove barriers to growth for everybody, where respect is given equally, and where the opportunity to succeed is not dependent on how you look, where you come from, the passport that you carry, the faith that you believe in, the person that you love, or the pronoun by which you identify. Travel, tourism, and hospitality is the largest employer in the world. We are part of a $1 trillion industry. Look, I grew up in a small house in Limerick. I never thought I'd use the word trillion in my career. Now I'm part, as are you, of a multi-trillion-dollar industry. And one of the things that we celebrate most about the global impact of travel, tourism, and hospitality is the ability for us to interact, to connect, to collaborate, and to celebrate life with people from all parts of the planet. People who do not look like us, people who do not eat the kind of food that we eat, people who do not believe in the faith that we may or may not believe in, people who choose their life path and their life partners according to what feels right to them and not what society dictates. Diversity, equity, inclusion, tolerance. There has never been a more important time for the hospitality industry and for we as hospitality professionals to stand up and be counted, and to stand up and say, we refuse to accept barriers to any individual based on any criteria. We are individuals. We are all equal, and opportunities and respect must be applied equally. So let's lead by example and cherish this extraordinary world in which we operate and in which we live. And it is about respect. It's about commanding respect through our actions, but more importantly, it's about delivering respect to others. And the way we do that is by practicing everything I've talked about in the ideology thus far. Being a host, showing that we care, being thoughtful in the detail, helping people achieve and experience the remarkable, celebrating their individuality, cherishing and celebrating our differences. All of those are gestures of respect. We're talking today about how pride as the central theme of a brand can help to attract and retain hospitality and tourism professionals. It starts by delivering respect, creating a respectful environment, and then gaining the respect of others. And when you know that people respect you and see you as somebody who themselves is respectful, wow, that sense of pride just wells up inside you. And what about our guests? What about our customers? What do we have to do for them? How do we feel proud about those interactions? Well, we have some obligations in our prideology there. Folks, we have to create sensation. We have to create inspiration. 40 years I've been working in hospitality, and in that time, I have met tens of thousands of customers, be they guests checking into a hotel, folks coming to a water park for a day out, or taking a romantic train journey, whatever it is that they may be doing. Here's one thing that I have never encountered. I have never met a guest or a customer in a travel, tourism, or hospitality setting that was hoping to be bored. Our guests come for sensation, to be inspired, to create memories that will last them for a lifetime. The guest doesn't show up at the front desk and say, okay, please tell me that this is going to be dull, all right? I want to make sure nothing's going to happen that will be fun. Don't burden me with any emotional content. I don't want to take away happy memories. Can this just be as bland as possible? It doesn't happen. Our obligation is to activate, to program, and to make sure that we're creating sensation and inspiration for our guests. I'd like you to agree one other thing with me today, and that is that we are going to ban acceptance of the F word. No, not that F word. One that is even worse in any hospitality setting. It is the word fine. If we create sensation and we create expectation, when we check in with our customers and we say, hey guys, how you doing? Having a good time? Did you enjoy that? The reaction, the response we're going to get is, oh my God, that was amazing. That was spectacular. That was phenomenal. It was everything I hoped it would be. Take it from me. If you ever speak to one of your customers and you say, how is it? How was it? Did you enjoy it? And the response that you get is, it was fine. We have failed. Fine means failure. So please join with me today in this campaign to eradicate the acceptance of mediocrity in hospitality and tourism. And fine is the poster child of mediocrity. We will not accept less than people saying it was amazing and extraordinary. And by so doing, we create wealth. How do we create wealth? Well, it makes me proud to know that I'm part of an industry which is one of the largest employers in the world that is helping people feed families, educate families, and ensure the continuity of growth for the future leaders of tomorrow. But we also have an obligation to create wealth for our customers. And the currency that they are in short of supply of, their most perishable currency, is time. So we have to harness that pride that we feel to make sure that we're interacting with each other as hospitality professionals and creating experiences for our guests and customers that make them feel like they could not have spent their time any better. Because if they believe it's time wasted, time is irreplaceable. You cannot ever get it back. So let's be proud of who we are. Let's be proud of what we do. And let's make sure that we ourselves spend every moment in hospitality to maximum effect, and that we are never guilty of finishing a day at work and thinking, well, that was a waste of time because it should never be. And to do all this, we need to be courageous. We have to dare to be different. We have to be unabashed provocateurs. And what that means is that we have to create disruption. Create a positively disruptive environment, and the hospitality and tourism professionals who work there will stand up proudly and participate in creating a new path. But remember, it's all about purpose, not just about process. Because disruption without purpose is merely interruption. It's background noise. But dare to be different, folks. Try new things. Stop, continue, start. Look at everything you do and occasionally say, you know what, I'm going to stop doing it this way because that's the way we've always been doing it. Let's see what happens. I'm going to start doing something new because that takes courage and it's daring. And we're going to continue to be thoughtful in the detail of creating the experiences that we offer to our guests. When that happens, what happens? We win. So let's be victorious, but let's also be valued by making sure that the victories that we will achieve and that we will celebrate have been achieved on a base of absolute respect. Be victorious, be valued, and be proud. That, folks, is the ideology that I believe fuels pride for us working in the hospitality, tourism, and travel industries. I don't expect you to remember it all, but I hope there have been certain words that you will take away from today's talks that might inspire you just a little bit to do things in a little bit different way in the future. Above all, be a host. Let's show everybody that we care. Let's be human beings who make other human beings happy. And above all, be proud. My name is Bill Walshe. I'm not the Chief Executive Officer of the Viceroy Hotel Group. My name is Bill, and I am the Chief Pride Officer of the Viceroy Hotel Group. And standing here speaking to you today from Los Angeles is one of the proudest moments of my life. Thank you for having me. Brian, back to you.